Heard Wholesome Radio. 89.3 FM, your preferred wholesome radio.
Integrity, responsibility, purpose. That's the vision of Nurture Nest on Character Matters for Nation Building. Hosted by Oluwatoyin Ogedengbe. Sundays, 3 to 4 p.m. on Wells Radio 89.3 FM. Ibadan. Character Matters. Building values. Shaping lives.
Good afternoon. This is Oluwatoyin Ogedengbe on Wells Radio 89.3 FM, and this is Character Matters for Nation Building. Good to have everyone join us again today, and we give all the glory to God for preserving our lives and preserving our nation in peace. Don't touch the dial.
Welcome back to Character Matters for Nation Building.
All right, so this is Character Matters for Nation Building, and we're grateful to the entire management of Wells Radio 89.3 FM for the great opportunity. The CEO, Evangelist Lillian Badimosi, station manager, Mr. Emmanuel Uju, and of course, the studio manager, Mr. Harry. Good to have you here. I've had to, relate with quite a number of them, and then it's always a great pleasure having them be a great source of support to us. Last week we had on air, right here, the CSO of Educational Advancement Center, that's EAC in Bodija, and we were focusing on the educational sector. And, like we say on this show, it's about integrity, no labeling, no name calling. Well, here, like we say, and what we're hoping to be able to achieve by the grace of God is to challenge one another onto good character, living by integrity. And today, I'm not here alone. The youth are taking over today. Yeah. So they say the law is blind, but in this country, it seems the law has a price tag. And we talk about human rights. But, what about the human responsibility of integrity? And joining me is a man who battles in the trenches of justice. He's a human rights lawyer and public affairs analyst. And I'm unveiling him. I want him to introduce himself. You're welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. It's good to be here.
Thank you.
I'm Peniela Eniayo Akintujoy.
Very, very awesome. So good to have you on the show. Thank you so, so much. And of course, our second guest is a master of the inner game. That's what we call it. And, life coach. He's a life coach and a youth leader who believes that you cannot lead a movement if you cannot lead yourself. we unveil another
All right.
youth here.
Hello, everyone. My name is Abiodun Adelu, and I'm here. It's good to be here.
So good to have you on the show this afternoon. So good to have you on the show. And, one of the things we've been saying to ourselves is we need to begin to walk the talk. We have a lot of, our counsel here is also a public affairs analyst. So I'm sure a lot of times, maybe every day of the week, you have one, national issue or another to talk about, analyze, and all of that. We have a whole lot on our hands. And we're saying to ourselves that, yes, and many times it's not because we do not have the solution, but now we need to begin to walk the talk. We need to begin to challenge one another, and especially, talking about the youth. So I will be starting today with our counsel here, So if we're saying that we have the law on one hand, and of course, like I said, Coach Abiodun is here, you're having the life map on another, and then you want to begin to look at the legal versus the moral, gap that we have. So if we're saying, we're talking about the fact that people have their rights as humans, what about their obligations as humans when it comes to nation building? How do we bring the balance?
Thank you very much. I admit that we seem not to talk about the obligations enough. In the Constitution, we have rights and duties.
Rights and duties.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we cannot, they are both correlatives. We cannot talk about rights and not also talk about duties, because we can only talk about rights if we have a nation. If we have a nation that is standing, if we have a nation that is healthy, if we have a nation that is thriving. And it is from the angle of our duty to our nation that we can have a healthy, thriving, living nation. So we cannot get even the rights that are inalienable, which we love so much, without, we, all of us, playing our part in our duties to the nation.
Duties to the nation.
Yes, absolutely.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. So, looking at the self-mastery aspect of this, we keep shouting, end bad governance, end bad government. But, as a life coach, you know that the government of self is the hardest to manage.
Yes.
So, and like I said when I was introducing you, that you can't begin to talk about leading people when you have not led yourself. And so we're talking about, we need the youth to get involved. We're no longer saying that the youth are the future of the nation. But we're calling them to the present, and we're saying that they need to take over. So,
Yes.
but if a youth leader, or a youth cannot manage his own integrity in private, isn't it just a junior version of the corrupt leaders that we're fighting?
Thank you very much. I must admit that I am even more concerned about the current youth than those that are there. I've had conversations with people that will tell you that you're telling us not to cheat, you're telling us not to lie. And the people there are doing it. When I get there, I will steal my own. When I get there, I will do worse. But the same people are complaining about the nation. So at the end of the day, it is someone from the population that becomes the leader. So the leader was not imported. It is someone from amongst us that also becomes the leader. So if the youth of today will step into leadership, then it is not even about going to national politics and all of those things. Starting with yourself. So are you a person of integrity? Are you a person of character? Because if you don't have it, you can't give it at a national level. So that's it.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. So where have we lost it? Where exactly is the gap? So the youth are saying, those who are there, they steal all the money, like you say, they get all they can, they can all they get, and then they sit on the can, and it's not going round, and everybody's talking about the national cake, and they say, if they chop and finish, and somebody says, I will bake my own, we will bake another one, we start to chop it, so we look at this whole lot. So we're talking about the revolutionary challenge. That if we look at ourselves, like you analyze public affairs on a daily basis. So when you look at our current political landscape, so do you see a political crisis or a character crisis?
Well, for me, I see a character crisis rather than a political crisis, because it is the people that makes the politics. It is especially in third world countries like Nigeria, where we do not yet have strong institutions. Most of the time, even the political parties, they operate based on the disposition and the ideology of the leaders. In the state level, it is said that the governor is the leader of the party. At the federal level, the president is the leader of the party.
Okay.
So those, even political party systems, they follow after the character of who is at the helms of affairs. So the problem we have is not politics. It's not even law. We have the laws. We have the laws. The problem we have is the problem of the people. So it's a character crisis we have. If I'm going to go straight to the point, it's character crisis.
Please hit the nail on the head.
It's character.
So how do we fix it?
It is about our values. It's about our values. We have become extremely materialistic in our values. There are societies, there are people who have the value who say a good name, for example, is better than silver or gold. And we must also understand that integrity is also not integrity is also, people are looking also for people who have integrity. We must not see integrity as a disadvantage. People are looking for those that they can put in charge of their business and who will not steal their money. And they don't mind that those people will also become rich legitimately through those opportunities, as long as they don't steal. So we must recognize that integrity is an advantage. It's not a disadvantage. It is this misconception, thinking that integrity makes you disadvantaged, that has made a whole lot, especially people like my colleague said, in our generation, to feel that if you can't beat them, join them. But when we begin to understand that in history, we have too many people that actually became great because of their integrity.
Okay, so I'm still going to stay a little bit with you as a lawyer, as a counsel. So the culture of impunity. So we say integrity still pays, but we see people steal billions and get a chieftaincy title with the drums rolling, cameras on, and then you're wondering, and then a man who steals a loaf of bread gets years in jail. So does the lack of integrity in our justice system, does it make honesty look like a foolish choice? So why do it? Because at the end of the day, there's no reward. So how do you tell the young mind that integrity, honesty still pays when they see what happens? They see the culture of impunity.
I indeed agree that based on the system we have here, for example, in Nigeria, if it is just about what goes on in the judiciary that anybody wants to base his own motivation on, you may not get that motivation. You may not get that motivation.
So there's got to be some self-motivation.
Yes, you have to find your motivation from other ideological foundations. Yes, you have to. Because if it's about what's going on, it is true that those who have the money are able to buy justice, or at least frustrate justice, and delay justice, frustrate justice, and get away with it. It's very, very true because of the lack of integrity in the system itself. So anybody who's going to follow integrity cannot take their inspiration from the current judicial system that we run. I'm sorry to say that, but it's the truth.
It is
the truth. So we must find other ideological foundations to inspire the fidelity to integrity.
I want you to just hold on the thought. So, looking at the mindset revolution, Coach Biodun, and then we're saying, if you could reformat the hard drive of the Nigerian youth mindset today, what is that one value that you would install to ensure that we don't repeat the mistakes of our fathers? Because what's staring us in the face right now, everybody, I must say, is tired. We want some kind of revolution, but the revolution that we're not prepared for. Okay, so that's one of the reasons we're having this kind of radio show, and we say it's a movement, and we need to begin to call ourselves to order. So as a coach, I'm sure you relate a lot with the youth. What would be that one thing that you think, okay, this would even be the starting point? If I can I can reformat, what would be that one thing?
One word, integrity.
Integrity. So
It's
how,
integrity.
how?
For integrity, I think just like any other character that we want to build, there are two approaches. There's one that is bottom-top approach.
Okay.
One is top-bottom approach.
Okay.
The bottom-top approach is to start from individuals, right? From the home, from maybe people we relate with amongst our friends. So starting from the youngest generation, the people that are still at that stage, 0 to 5, 5 to 10, character formation, we say. So beginning to build them, because we are doing a repair on those already above 18 and all that. It's a repair because their character is already formed. But we need to start from the younger generations and begin to form. And that's why parents have a lot of job to do. So for many parents, integrity is your words and your actions aligning together. So, parents can say something like, maybe someone comes to check on me. He said, tell the person I'm not around. You are trying to tell the person, and the person is confused, but you are around. So, and you tell them it's not good to lie, but they see you do it. At the end of the day, children will emulate what they see, not just what they hear. Parents have a lot of works to do. Then we can now start moving to relationship level, how they treat their siblings, how they relate with their friends. So we can start building it gradually like that. Then we'll go to the third level, which is institutional level. At school level, at workplace, at our churches, at our marketplace, on the media. There's responsible use of the internet. I was speaking with a parent recently, and this child is probably about 10, and the child has a laptop to himself, which is not bad. We said that he's using it for learning some coding and all that. I said, is there a parental control on this laptop? He said, hey, she doesn't even know anything about parental control. I said, what Gmail is logged in on the... She said that she just... I said, that means that this child has access to everything an adult has access to. He doesn't have the self-control to control himself. So parents have to be intentional about building the kind of children they want to see. It is when we've passed beyond individual to relational to institutional before we can start talking about the national level. But usually we point fingers at the national level. Then the bottom-top approach is where we start asking questions and start holding our leaders,
so what
political
kind
office
of
holders.
questions would those be?
Integrity and character building is not a day's journey.
It's not a day's
journey. It's something that happens gradually. It's a process, right? So, for example, the internet has democratized everybody. So we have opportunity to post on the platform. We have opportunity to post on the internet. So that's one way to participate. Also in voting and some other ways, awareness, joining NGOs, campaigns, and various platforms where we can air our voices, and also doing it by example. Also, so I believe that it's a long journey because we've come a long way to get here. If we're going to fix it, it's also going to take a while, right?
Absolutely.
Yes.
It will take a while, so we need to settle that in our minds first and foremost, that it's a process. Yes. We didn't get here in one day, not even 1 year.
It's
and
not even
this whole
a
thing
decade.
can't be fixed. Like we say, Rome wasn't built in a day.
Yes.
So, but we must have this posture of heart that it is possible.
Yes.
You know, when you get to that standpoint where you're saying this change is still possible, it's realistic,
Yes.
we can achieve it. You know, some persons seem to have even given up
Because they're overwhelmed.
They're overwhelmed, and isn't that true? Aren't we overwhelmed? In some regard, the things that stare in the face. So some persons are even trying to uphold the truth. I saw a video a couple of days ago. You know, what you have, you know, almost every part of the system you have to make available for yourself. You drill your borehole to get water. You provide your own security services, you know, get guards. So a particular estate, residential, and I guess part of the responsibilities assigned them is to check, you know, on those who go into the estate to work for people who live within the estate. So maybe there's some kind of rule guiding that. And a particular young lady was, from where I began to, watch that video, some items, beverages, food items, canned items were brought out of the bag, and the man was saying, eléyìí ti pọ̀jù, you know, I'm getting somewhere. And some other persons were saying, ibi tó ti ń jẹun nìyẹn, má gbé àjẹ́ lẹ́nu ẹ̀, you know, like, don't expose her. Now, this is somebody who's trying to say, we've got somebody. This isn't okay. This is it's fraudulent, it's killing. I mean, how would you take this much? So sometimes you begin to weigh. So is it really about the gravity, the severity, or a lack of it? That okay, no, this is still is a little, we can cope with this. But don't you think that because we have left it that way and we have begun to allow the little seeds, and those seeds have germinated over the years? So some person is saying, and I was reading the posts under the video, and some person says, if he was the one, if he had the opportunity, he would have done worse. Just let her go. That's where person they walk, now dead person they chop. Where person they walk, now where person go chop. I saw some other videos, poultry, and people walking the poultry, packed eggs, and so how do you want the owner to survive? So where am I going? Is it the gravity that determines whether we hold people accountable? Okay, if it's just a little, we can let them go. If it isn't so much, maybe if it's just one sachet of Milo, we would let her go. But this one that is so much, we can't let her. Where do we really begin to draw the line and begin to hold ourselves accountable? As I tell you, that security guard was blamed, was accused of not being reasonable. But that's where she works. So, Nkonini share money. So, tell me, that kind of security guard will begin to feel like, am I doing too much? So, counsel, where do we really begin to draw these lines?
All right, thank you very much. To begin with, we must recognize that there is this local proverb that says that there is nothing like, although from the perspective of criminal law, there are degrees of offenses, there are classes of offenses, and it's also, the reasoning is also that punishment should be proportionate to whether it's a misdemeanor, is a small offense, or a serious offense. But we must recognize that if we are going to have a sane society, what is right is right, what is wrong is wrong. It's not about how wrong, how big. It's not about the gravity or severity. Somebody who has been doing little wrongs and is not checked will get comfortable and grow
thick
skin in evil doing. So that is settled. At the same time, it is also important, since we are talking the macro, we are talking about the big picture, we are talking about the nation. It's also important that in our pursuit of integrity, we must also pursue social justice. When we have a citizenry that is extremely impoverished, there are certain lines of integrity that people desire to pursue, but survivor will not allow them to pursue. Now, it's very important. I was very quickly, I was listening to Professor Simbajo, the former VP, talking on a platform recently, and was talking about some of the changes they made in the legal judiciary in Lagos when he was commissioner. Saw that judges were taking bribes and all of that. Now, when they wanted to address that problem, the first thing they did was to increase the salaries of the judges. Increase their salaries, then give all of them a house. That the moment you are appointed as a judge in Lagos State at that time, I don't know whether they are still doing it, I believe they are still doing it, I hope so. The moment you are appointed a judge, you get a house, and the house is yours. When you retire, it's yours. Now, if we are only addressing the fact that they are taking bribes. Without looking at the fact that their take home cannot take them home.
So you're looking at the push and the pull.
There must be balance. Now, we indeed know that there are some people that they are stealing not for survival, not to maintain existence, but it is now a form of kleptocracy. When you steal without sense, when it makes no meaning. Of course, we do not pamper that. But there are people who are actually not able to maintain a strict code of integrity because of deprivation. And we can also close our eyes to that. The question is that, for example, the minimum wage that an average worker is taking in the average state in Nigeria, compared to the cost of living, if they do not take bribes, is that salary, is it enough to take care of them and their family, to earn a decent living? So it is important that as we're having these conversations, we strike the balance. We strike the balance the need for people to have integrity, and the need for people to be able to earn a decent living. It's important. When you don't, a hungry man, they used to say, when somebody is hungry, has been hungry for days, there are certain things that, morality will no longer, when somebody has been hungry for days and needs to survive, see something that it needs to eat. All the preaching about morality may not enter the ears of that. So there must be the important balance. So according to that lecture, now at the end of the day, when they increase the salaries and they say, yes, this salary is enough to take care of you, give them a bonus, give them cars. Anyone after them that now committed, that took bribe, they were able to, punish them with a sense of justice.
Because already they've been given the basic
that can make them to live a decent life.
So at the end of the day, we begin to go back to the issue of greed. So Coach Biodun, let's begin to look at, because we begin to ask ourselves what really is the minimum wage for our integrity? What really is it? So, we talk about contentment, the values of contentment, and in Yoruba, when you're talking about covetousness, ojukokoro, and then sometimes, like you've rightly said, and you're looking at some of the things that the youth actually see on social media, and this, if you've got it, you flaunt it, and so I want us to look at it now, Coach Biodun. You relate a lot with young people, and then so the biggest fear really isn't failing. So you begin to look at the issue of peer pressure, the issue of, looking poor among your peers, wanting to have that sense of belonging, like, there's a class, my mates want a hammer, I want to hammer so I can buy Homer, all those those are the things you hear. So how do we break the cycle? So where young people, trade their values for a lifestyle that they can't even afford, and then trying to bring a balance with all of that, with what our counselor said, greed, contentment, and maintaining a balance that, okay, we want people to be morally upright, but have we provided the basic needs? Over to you.
Thank you very much, Ma. I think when it comes to understanding the balance of maybe greed and peer pressure and all of those things, one of the things that I notice is that the society that we're surrounded with have more negative models than positive models. One day I was watching a TV program, and I saw the person that spoke about how youth should be contented, right? Then the next video song that was played after that was showing one, like in quote, they call them influencer musician, that was displaying wealth. And I said, you just taught people to be contented, but you are playing something showing a lot of houses, and the person was talking about how I have it, we're enjoying my life. I said, this equation is not balancing. So I think it starts from, I was speaking with a UTME student, someone preparing for admission, and he's already telling me that there's no way he's not going to do internet fraud, that he's going to do it because everybody around him, his brother is doing. He was telling me that this is what his brother is doing to make a living, right? So I think we need to have more models, right, especially in the media spaces, that can come out and let people know that you can be a person of integrity and still be great in life. So that possibility has to be shown, right? Because the one that is louder, it's just like marriage. News about marriage breaking trends more. See, if you see people that are celebrating 30 years of marriage, it may not really trend like that. But people that have issues with their marriage, stuff like that, it trends very well. So I think it starts from number one, the kind of models that people surround themselves with.
So modeling.
And now speaking to the youth themselves, there are always people around us that are doing the right thing. So I think the youth themselves can select the kind of
choice
people,
to make,
the kind of people that they are allowed to influence them. So when we give ourselves to feeding our minds with materials and contents of people that are living wayward life and they're just displaying it. Then over time we'll begin to see that it's called normalization. When something that is bad, you see it, the first time you see it, you're like, what's this? This is wrong. But over time you get to, it's not really bad. Then you get to the point of, anyway, I don't blame them. Then you get to the point of, I can actually do it. Then you get to the point of, there's nothing wrong with it. So it goes over time. And then talking about minimum basics and contentment. I think it's relative because the truth is that the youth of nowadays, the minimum the minimum standard is so high. So when someone is telling you that I'm going through a lot, find out the a lot compared to maybe it's like what do I call it now? What people can take before. And they will still be fine, and they'll still okay, patience, contentment. Some of these people can't take it. So I think it also boils down to that ability to delay gratification, ability to tell myself that this thing is not what determines my life. And finally, I will say that youth need a vision. If you don't have a vision for yourself, any form of restriction, because the reason why you can restrict yourself from doing some things is because you have a focus, you have value, you have vision. And of course, the third one I said, you are surrounded by godly models that remind you every time that this is possible. So I think I will stop there.
Thank you so much. So the youth have a choice to make. I mean, it reminds me of a popular story of two sons raised by a man who obviously in the time of his life, was a drunkard and lived recklessly, quite irresponsibly. But the two sons turned out differently. So the story says that one of the sons turned out well. He made up his mind, went to school, studied, graduated, and picked up a good job. But the other one went right after the father's attitude, like you say, like father, like son. And so the question to them was, what was it? You were raised by the same father. It wasn't like the other son had an opportunity to be raised by somebody else, but that other son had said that he saw what was wrong and he had analyzed the life of the father, that the life he lived, he was not going to repeat that kind of life. So he had to make a choice that he was going to break that cycle. But this other one, I don't have a choice. This is who my father is. So we seem to have a lot of feeling like we're helpless. Yes. We're just, we can't do anything.
It's not our fault.
It's not our fault. This is what they're doing. But what we're saying this afternoon, I'm going to be giving you, time separately. I want you to really speak to the pure consciences of the youth. Well, we're not living in denial. We understand the facts are staring us in the face. We're not saying that those who've gone ahead or those who are there who are ruling that they've got it all together, that they're doing it right. No, we're not saying that. But we say that because they're not doing it right, and everybody just continues to toe that line. So I want you to, address the youth. What will be our take from this standpoint of the choices that we make?
Thank you very much. There is a song, very popular song that says, heal the world, make it a better place for you and for me and for the entire human race. Every generation, like Franz Fanon said, have a duty to discover their mission, either to fulfill or betray it. Now, the bottom line of what I'm saying is that we have a choice to make a choice.
We have a choice
to make a choice.
Yeah, despite the fact that our forebears may not have bequeathed a good society to us, we can change the narrative.
We can change the narrative.
And make up our minds that by the time our grandchildren will be living in Nigeria, they will thank our generation for breaking the vicious cycle. That can be a consensus of our generation that we want to do it differently. And the truth of the matter is that when we finally build the nation, we will all enjoy it. The only difference is that at that time, the national cake will go round in a legitimate manner. When we build a nation, we will enjoy it. So we are doing ourselves a favor. It's just that the level of inequality that we have today will no longer exist. And by the time our grandchildren would be living in the same country, they will have a country they'll be proud of. And then they will sing genuinely that the labors of their heroes past was never in vain. So that is my message to young people like me, to say, let's break the vicious cycle. It's in our hands. Let's break the vicious cycle. Yeah, the fact that some people are doing it the wrong way does not mean that even in the midst of this hostile environment, we do not have people who are breaking even legitimately, who have made up their minds not to defile themselves. And they are rising by virtue of integrity, not in spite of it. It is by virtue of integrity. There are international companies, there are great businesses, there are capital sitting in banks. People are just looking for people who have integrity. That they can close their eyes, walk away, and that will do the right thing. So I keep re-emphasizing, and I want to reiterate again to all the young people listening to this, that integrity is not a disadvantage. We need to get that into our senses. Integrity is not a disadvantage. Yes, it could sometimes mean some discomfort. Yes, we are not saying that integrity is cheap. We are not saying that. It could mean some discomfort. It could mean that some things that you could have in a shortcut, you have to go through the longer haul. But somebody says, if you jump up, you will come down. But if you grow up, you will stay up. So at the end of the day, whatever we achieve by integrity will last. Even though it may be more pricey, it may be more discomforting, but it will last, and we can boldly share testimony about it. So at the end of the day, I think this is the most important point I want to communicate to the youth. Integrity is not a disadvantage. We can make a choice that in our generation, even though our forebears have not done well for us, we can make a choice to break the vicious cycle so as to bequeath a great nation to our grandchildren.
Thank you so much. Spot on. So over to you, Coach Biodun. So youth out there, what would be, speaking from your heart also as a youth and a youth leader, to the youth who are listening or who will get to, see this conversation and may want to be a part of it?
I will actually like to speak to the youth and to parents. The reason I'm speaking to parents is because they are the ones that are raising the youth, and they are the ones raising the youth of the future. To the youth, first of all, the first thing I would like to say is that you can be a person of integrity and still be great in life. Right. So that's that feeling that if I choose the path of integrity, then I'm choosing to be small, to be a poor person. That's something that they have to delete from their mind. That you can be a person of integrity and be great in life. Number two is to now define what great means. Because greatness does not mean that you will have all the billions and all the private jets of the world. You can have all those things and still feel empty inside of you. Do you want to have just what you can have and be okay in life, and know that you grow up knowing that the process and the results, I am proud of them. Some people are proud of the results. They're not proud of the process. Some people, they are proud of both the process and the results. So do you want to look back? Sometimes I tell people, look at yourself at 80. Look at yourself when you're about to die. What would be your greatest regret? Can I say that I'm proud of how I live my life? So our definition of greatness has to be changed from material greatness to, when it has to do with, number one, service to humanity. Number two, having a vision and fulfilling that vision. It gives you that sense of greatness. And number three, knowing that you do everything you do and you still have your conscience intact. That is greatness. The real greatness in this generation has to be redefined from material prosperity and material greatness, which will definitely come. But even if it doesn't come, you are still a great person. Even if you don't have all of those things. So I think that's the second thing I would tell them. And then the third thing I would tell youths is that there are godly models around. You should look for godly models and surround yourself with it. Because after all these things, they'll say, it's true. As long as they're still concerned, they're still surrounded by bad people, eventually, because you need to hear this kind of thing again and again. And I would want to encourage everyone listening to me, ensure that you tune into this station and listen to this kind of program regularly, because you hear things that will help you to build up your mind. As long as you're surrounded by negative things, and it's like you are taking one step forward and 5 steps backward. And to the parents, please, let's be intentional. Let's really, really be intentional. You hear things like, it doesn't matter, it's still a child. It's still a child. When we begin to say it's still a child, and then we are seeing a lot of things that are happening, even among 5-year-old and 7-year-old and stuff like that. So parents need to be intentional about how they raise their children. Parenting is not something that you learn automatically.
I'm sorry, I'm going to have to just ask you to hang on. Awesome.
Oh, okay,
awesome.
great.
I think we have a call.
Okay, we have a call already. That's great.
Hello, good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. My name is Dayo. I'm calling you from Ring Road.
Ring Road. Thank you so much, Ayo,
good
for
afternoon.
calling in.
Dayo.
Dayo. Oh, Dayo. Apologies.
Dayo. Yes.
Okay.
I must commend the great work that you are doing.
Thank you so much.
For me, I barely allow my children to listen to radio, but this is the only radio station I allow them to listen to.
Wow, awesome.
Because I paid attention, and I've never called any show before. My children will call on the shows, on the children's shows, but I personally feel connected, and this further buttress the point of what this station has said that they stand for, and then the conversation that you've been having, it's very painful and shameful to see one of your guests there said something about the media. You had just said something, say about, a particular topic that would benefit people, only to play a music shortly after that would turn the whole thing upside down. We see that in the media a lot. And so I want to say that the media also contributes to the problem we have.
Yeah.
The media also contributes to the problem we have. Imagine telling children to dress appropriately, and then when you do go on a music break, you are showing women, open cleavage and the likes all over the place. So it's worry stirred. And so that's why, personally, for me, I have chosen this station at Oluyole as that place where I would allow my children be, because of the kind of conversation that comes from this place, which is very, very encouraging. And on a lighter note, just like you said, they want to buy they want to make hammer or hammer to buy hammer or whatever. They don't buy hammer anymore, They now want to buy more sophisticated things. So well done to you, well done to the radio station for the great work. I can imagine how challenging it might be for the handlers or the owners to be pushing this kind of narrative or this kind of agenda at a time when the media is even derailing and sinking them more. It will be costing them a lot, but some of us have been blessed, and we're asking God to also further help them, that this kind of message, will be out there. Young people can find alternatives to see that, hey, not everybody is going that way, because even the media has gone that way. Look at the celebrities. They have gone that way. They have gone that way. And so no matter how much of a model you want to be to your children, they are seeing you and their mother and maybe some relatives that you have with you, but they are seeing 1,000,000,001 other ungodly models out there screaming into their ears, telling them to do this. They are telling you, this slang is in town now, involve me. And it will shock you what they are involving themselves into. You can't blame the children too. So we need the media to stand up, to be intentional. The media to not think about their pockets only. Yes, I understand they need money to also run like other businesses. But again, what do you gain when you make all the money and change the entire future of several generations? I'm sure that God himself will not be happy with that. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much, Mr. Dayo. Thank you so much for calling in, and thank you for those insightful contributions. Thank you so much also for being such a great model to your children. Thank you so much. This really encourages our heart. Yes. And like we say, there are still godly people out there. There's still people who uphold integrity, and we're really grateful. And I must say also, this is Wells Radio, and the radio station is known for wholesome content, because just like the caller said, Mr. Dayo said, you tune into airwaves, and some of even the lyrics of songs, and you just have to quickly just turn off, like you said. I mean, even to allow children, without you being there, to just say, okay, go on and listen. And like you said, the media really has a lot to do, and that's why we're also challenging ourselves that we have all it takes. We really do have all it takes. I want to say big thank you to, I'm looking at the time like, wow. No, we still have a few more minutes, never mind. But we're going to be wrapping it up, and then we also want to speak. I think I asked you to hold on. You were making some fantastic points, especially with regards to the parents themselves, being the mother. And then I think that call was actually very timely. It really just did justice and, just summed up everything that you were trying to put together. And then because of our time, I really want us to quickly look into this aspect. This week, Saturday, is Valentine's Day. And we will be having another show on Sunday, but I think it's a good opportunity to be able to also speak, because what you see out there, so it's not just corruption of the mind, it's not just, and you see some who trade their worth. When we started the show, we started talking about self-worth, some who would trade their bodies for money. So you're also drawing that line. Oh, I don't have anybody to sponsor me. I don't have anybody to help me. That's why I'm doing what I'm doing. That's why I'm, So you see, people also devalue dignity. It really doesn't matter. So long as I can get what I need without looking at the future, Coach Biodun was talking about that place where we begin to redefine greatness. It's not in the possessions. So you're looking at the place of dignity as self-worth, your self-esteem. I want us to also, maybe two minutes each, to be able to address that this week. You never can tell. Somebody somewhere listening to us, and they already have all the plans. And some persons also, we go into some dishonest, enterprise, let me put it that way, to be able to say they want to fulfill their lustful desire this same week, and some live to regret it. For some it becomes, and for some, as a result of that, they're bringing into life children that they're not ready
to parent, and then you're having a cycle. So you give birth to those kind of children, you are not ready, and then you send them to a grandma in the village. We had a case, a very pathetic one, child by a teenage mother, around periods like this, and of course, had to send the child back to the grandma in the village. Eventually, grandma couldn't really have a hold on him in his teenage years. He went into drugs. When he got back to Ibadan here, he wanted to sleep with his mother. He became highly, uncontrollable. And around seasons like this, what do? The issue of self-control, delayed gratification, speaking to our youth. If our youth really must step up and take over, we'd like to hear your counsel.
Thank you so very much. I like to say it very clearly to everybody hearing that sex is not love. Very important to note. The mark of true love is in putting a value on the object of love, is in delayed gratification. It's in waiting. If that thing is really, really valuable, you will be ready to pay whatever price is necessary. Now, and when we're talking about price, there is nobody you meet on the road that fell down from heaven. Some people raise that woman, some people raise whoever, send a person to school. And so there is a process, there is a proper process. And in order to even prove that somebody truly loves as claimed, it is if they are willing to go through that process that proves that the love they claim is genuine. So we need to really, really recognize this very importantly. That sex is not love.
It's not love.
The genuine proof of love is in respect, it's in putting value on you. And if there is genuine value on you, the other party, the person will be willing to pay the price and wait it out. There was a guy that waited 7 years and served to marry a woman. They were living in the same compound. He was seeing the price, but he waited 7 years and paid the price. That is the proof of genuine love. You can have sex with somebody you have no iota of love with. What governs love and what governs sex are totally different. And we must know that there are consequences for our actions. And those consequences can be lifelong. And irreversible.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
There are consequences for our actions, and sometimes they may be irreversible. We need to know that we have a choice to make a choice.
Yeah.
Thank you. So, Coach Abiodun, your final words.
In addition to what our counsel said, I think I will also speak to the person. You need to respect yourself. You were speaking about self-love, self-worth.
Yeah.
That you need to see. There's a way people throw themselves around. You know that this person does not place value on themselves. If you place value on yourself, there are some things you don't do. Now, during Valentine, you don't have to carry anybody out. Nobody has to carry you out. You can celebrate yourself. You can give yourself a treat, right? So there's nothing wrong with that. So I think it starts with that. We must understand that you must love yourself. You must respect yourself enough. Number two, I will speak to schools. Okay, we have a call. Okay. So during this time also, I will speak to schools also. If it is to organize a sensitization and awareness of 30 minutes, 20 minutes to do something, I think it's important. I'll speak to parents also, especially parents that have teenagers. If you can take them out, it's fine. If you can't take them out, you can buy them a gift. If you can't do that, let them know that when teenagers have enough love at home,
Okay.
They can.
It seems the
cope.
calls are coming in when Coach Biodun is. Hello.
Good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon. We can hear you. Could you
Yes,
please
ma'am.
speak up a bit louder?
Emmanuel. My name is Emmanuel.
Emmanuel, good afternoon.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am, for the teaching.
Thank you for
Yes, ma'am.
listening. Thank you. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Songo.
From Songo.
Ibadan.
Oh, fantastic. That's Emmanuel calling in from Songo. So, Emmanuel, would you tell us what's your take home? One thing that you've learned today.
Sorry, I also have a question.
Oh, a question. You actually have a question. Okay. So,
Yes, ma'am.
yes, please.
Another, my question is, something came to my mind as you were speaking. My question is that in this our generation, as a youth, I think the pressure to fit in is very strong, like especially with social media and rising expectations. Sometimes it becomes very hard. So, my question is that in today's reality, where young believers are building careers and trying to grow, what does it practically mean to be the aspect of the topic which is come out from among them without becoming isolated
Like them.
from the society?
Okay.
So I want to understand very much.
Thank you so much. So I think we'll still allow Coach Biodun to respond to that. Thank you so much, Emmanuel, for calling all the way from Songo. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you very much, Emmanuel, for calling. Yes, just like you've also said, the reality is obvious, right? The pressure is there, you understand. And then, of course, usually at that initial stage of building career, for many people, there is confusion, there is financial pressure, and all of those things can be there. I think, number one, I would advise find a community of like minds. Join people that believe, people that are going in the same direction like you. Find a community of like minds. I think it helps because if you're alone, it's like you are driving against it's like you are riding against the ocean or something. So it is harder. But when you have people around you that are like you, anytime you feel overwhelmed, you can talk to them. And sometimes you can listen to their stories and you can also feel empowered. So I think a community will help, right? And also every time, never forget your vision. Do you have a vision for your life? Do you have what you are driving towards? And anytime you feel overwhelmed, remind yourself of where you are going in the future. And I believe that with this, you'll be able to navigate the challenging time. Thank you.
Wow, thank you so much, Coach Biodun. Thank you again, Mr. Dayo and Mr. Emmanuel, for being a part of the show by calling in. And how time flies, like we say, 1 hour gone by, but of course, profitably yes. Utilized. And we know that these are seeds that have been sown, and we know that all of this will go a long way in helping to change the narratives, one life at a time, one seed at a time. Thank you so much. It's been such a great pleasure having our guests today, and I think they're going to make a promise. We'll have you again. Come back again and again. It's really been an enlightening time with you, Peniela Enya Yoakintujoye Esquire. Thank you so much for making out time. I know how Sundays can be to be here. Thank you so much, human rights lawyer and public affairs analyst. And of course, to our life coach, Coach Abiodun Adelu. Thank you so much. Thank you for those, inspirational talks, and especially, of course, also speaking to the pure consciences of parents. Thank you so much. It's been a great pleasure having you both on the show. Thank you so much, our studio manager. And of course, I am your regular host, Oluwatoyin Ogedengbe. And this is Wells Radio 89.3 FM. See you again next week by the grace of God. Bye. This is Wells Radio 89.3